Welcome to Escape Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello!
Hi!
So we're still not out of the filler arc, but at least this one was fun.
This was... The thing is, this episode has, no point apart from the last, couple of minutes. And it's such, comes out of nowhere to, how else were we gonna, forward the plot? All right.
It really is that. This episode was literally just for that one line.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was kind of it. I So we're talking about the season 5, episode 9, the Real Ghostbusters. This one was written. I'm not surprised. This was written by Kripke. Of course, It was written by Kripke.
Yeah, of course.
It as well as Nancy Weiner, and directed by James Conway.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. I didn't take note of who wrote it before I watched this episode, or even when the credits were coming up. But when Chuck comes in, I was like, oh, is that the kind of entrance that he is this a fanfic entrance for him? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, it was great. I like the teaser. Well, not the teaser, the recap that they had for this episode. I was like, what? Why did they choose these moments? I was like, oh, it's for the flair of the dramatics.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's really good. Yeah, because Chuck is such a self-insert character for Kripke. Even though he's called Carver Edlund. Yeah, it is like that. Maybe that's why Kripke doesn't do a lot of conventions, because I know people would like him to go to them. Maybe it's because he's worried it would be like this. Really awkward, and he runs out of things to say. But...
Yeah, probably.
Okay, story time then, because this happened ages ago, so I can talk about it now. Last year, I went to a thing about the boys. So I got to go to this panel, and I didn't know who was going to be there for the cast of the boys, and I was obviously secretly hoping that Jensen would be there, but he wasn't. So I was sat there waiting, and people came out. I was like, oh yeah, Carl Urban, I'm so hyped. And then Eric Kripke walked out. And I swear to you, I had to control myself. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to not just shout something at this man in this cinema or whatever. Yeah. Seeing him was such a shock. I didn't expect him to be there. And then I was like, I have so many questions about Supernatural. This is an event about the boys. And he was quite good at answering questions, though. So I feel like he should do more fan conventions. Come on, Kripke. We want to know the secrets. Yeah,
can we get more details on the phone call that you had with Jensen?
Yeah, I want to know that.
Before the end of the series,
Come on, give me the dirt. I want dirt.
Because obviously Jensen can't talk about it because he still wants to be in the CW's good graces and the execs there. But Kripke's no longer involved with them, so he can lay out all the dirt.
Yeah, tell us, Kripke. He was like, no man, it's got to end, because he's secretly thinking, I want Jensen for season 3 of The Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
If he's work on Supernatural.
I need him on my other projects. I can't. He has to be free.
Yeah. Sorry, Jensen. Dean has to die so Soldier Boy can live.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's wild to see him, and I wish he would do more fan conventions. I have so many questions for Kripke. I'd be at that microphone, ask my question, make my way back to the back of the line,
Hopefully they wouldn't do. I don't know. Talking of conventions, since this is a convention episode,
hey.
Do you recall how they did? Because we went to one. The only convention I went to in England about Supernatural, I don't remember if they, for Jared's panel, whether it wasn't luck of the draw. Like, so with the ones here
Mm-hmm.
with creation,
Yeah.
like you can't just go up. You actually get, your name gets picked out of a hat, basically.
Right.
I don't know if that's always been the case. It may have been like sort of tail end of COVID. They don't want everybody in line, but I can also imagine that they're not gonna want like the entire convention like in on a line at the side of the side of the halls. So I'm wondering if that would be the same kind of thing with Kripke, whether they'd have like drawer of the hat, like you couldn't just ask a question, go back. Because like with the other like people at the convention I went to, like Jay Gable, when I went out to go ask my question, there was nobody else.
Yeah, I've come across that a few times at conventions where like no one else is asking a question. I'm like, how do you know how many? I have questions. I mean, I went to a convention again last year where I cannot remember her name. That's really bad. She plays Tess the Reaper, and she was there and really insightful about her character. Really interesting person. Like, and again, like not many questions. From the I guess she's only been in a few episodes, but like she's been on some other stuff as well. It's I always feel bad when like people don't have any questions because it's like just ask anything. Like it's fine, you know. Like
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, talking about like getting in line. No, I distinctly remember that the conventions that we used to go to in England, or the ones I went to, it was like a first come first served. Like get to the mic. I will say I think like kind of drawing from a hat is maybe a bit fairer because then there's like people with like accessibility issues and things who maybe like can't like jump to that mic.
Right, yeah.
But then again, as long as they're not screened. That's my main thing about it. It has to be like a completely random, like they don't need to ask you a question. You just get drawn from a hat from asking it.
Yeah. So when I was picked for Misha, and nobody asked me what my question was going to be. When I was there, what I'm surprised by though, I wonder. Well, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Someone who was behind me in the line for Misha managed to also get his name drawn for Jared and Jensen's panel as well. So he was really lucky.
That's just that's pure luck. That is
super, super lucky. And I was like, dang. Well, I'm kind of glad I got Misha versus Jared and Jensen just because I really don't know. I don't know how I would have spoken, to be honest.
So I went to a German convention where Misha was, and they cut the line behind me. And there was a girl like behind me and she was like really upset and I was like, what's your question? And her question was like way better than mine, so I was like, go ahead. But I was like secretly relieved because I was like I hate asking questions at conventions. So no, I had the double bonus of like, oh my god, I got out of it, and also like I look like a really good person. It was entirely selfish.
That was very kind of you.
Thanks, but yeah, it was like one thing I will say, and I know this is one of Misha's hang-ups too, so like look, if you are going to conventions, this is an actual tip. Like use the microphone properly. That's my like one bugbear is just like talking to it. Eat the microphone. It should be so close you're like worried about catching someone's cold off of it. Like that is grim.
Exactly.
But, yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting. Maybe once you've done a few more US conventions, because you've done one UK one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because like I was saying about like the difference between them, but then I realized it's not really a fair comparison for me to make because I've never been to a US one. So maybe it'd be a good thing if you like have a think about. I don't know, because I would say the UK ones haven't really changed from when you used to go. They're very similar.
It definitely doesn't have the same feel as this convention in the show.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the size of the hall alone is like, I don't know, 1,000 times bigger, and that's really not an exaggeration.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the amount of people that's in that would probably fit in the first 2 rows in a golf.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do wonder if we have anyone who listens who did go to those first conventions that, you know, were put on. and what they were like, because I'm sure it was way different.
It would be interesting. They were definitely more affordable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely more affordable. Okay, here's how affordable it was. I think I paid £70. This is like proper like that calling me out, to get my photo taken with Jensen Ackles in 2013, 2014, something like that. I don't know how much it is now, and I don't want to know.
It's not £70. I'll tell you that. I'll just leave it there and just tell you it's not.
Yeah, because like I was like a student, like coming out of university, and I could afford to go and like get my picture taken with everybody, and it was great. I'm like going to go into like credit card debt or whatever. Yeah, this convention is obviously, it is very different to anything. I guess it's for books as well, though, isn't it? Like it's not for a TV series, so it's more niche. Because I met someone once, I cannot remember her name, who very early on used to go to meetups with Discworld fans and Terry Pratchett. And it was literally in like a hotel meeting room, but it was maybe like 20 people. Like that's how many people would go. And the people who used to go to those very early on, like actually, you know, kind of got to know Terry Pratchett. Like they discussed the books together and things, and apparently it's like really personable, and you know, they used to discuss like lore and stuff and all these kinds of things. And that's also how like those kinds of really small meetups were things like how Star Trek convention started as well. So yeah, it's that kind of, I do like this version of it because it does feel very like early fandom. But there are definitely also some digs, and we'll bring them up as we go.
Yes,
to like modern fandom, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I will say this for this convention, for a first annual one, the merch tables are on point.
They're really good. They're really good. That's the best merch I've ever seen anywhere.
And just like, how did they get? I mean, I guess it's Becky that organized it.
It's for sure Becky. Yeah.
Has anyone cosplayed as Becky in this episode at a convention? Because why haven't you?
I should do that. I could totally pull that off. Yeah. Sweater vest.
Sweater vest with the corduroy like brown skirt and the knee-high socks.
I could totally pull that off.
There you go, the cosplay idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can get into the episode a little bit, or a lot of it. And so the recap was really bizarre.
Yeah.
It starts off with Asylum. I was like, is this Asylum? Why are we going this far back?
Yeah. It was weird.
It was weird, and because it's got nothing to do with anything. Because there's a scene where Sam's possessed by the ghost, and he's like yelling at Dean. The next one is from season 2, where I think it's like, I can't remember what episode it was. I didn't check, but it's shortly after John has just died, and he's saying, "I might have to kill you." I'm like, oh, they're putting these in because it's for a flair for the dramatics. Got it.
Yeah. It was almost like they were reminding us that ghosts exist because we like haven't seen one in so long.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah. And there's also like Cass saying like, if you're going after the devil and want to kill him, this is the only way you can do it, and this is referring to the cult.
Yeah.
There's also the LARPing scene, and then Becky meeting Sam for the first time. And then it cuts to like a really dramatic driving scene of the Impala come around the corner, like it's life and death, and Sam and Dean jump out of the car ready to go, and they see Chuck, and he's kind of going back and forth, looking very worried.
Yeah.
Chuck, there you are.
Guys?
What's going on?
Nothing.
And he's asking why they're there. He says, you told us to come. And Chuck's like, no, I didn't. And Sam's like, yes, you did. You texted me the address, life or death situation, ring any of this ringing a bell. Chuck comes to realize that it wasn't him, but it was somebody else.
Yeah.
And Becky comes round and she's like squealing and says, Sam, you made it. Poor Sam. I'm just going to say that for this episode. Poor Sam.
He is extremely tolerant of Becky in this episode, I'll say. Yeah.
He's tolerant with a lot of women that basically assault him. Like
it's true, yeah.
The old lady in that one episode.
Yeah.
The red sky at morning. So, yeah. She's like, he says, oh, yeah. Oh, Becky, right? And she gets all excited that Sam remembered her. And it's very, very delusional. It's Chuck accuses Becky of stealing his phone, and she's like, oh, I just borrowed it from your pants or your trousers. As if like that's not stealing.
Yeah.
As I'm saying this out loud, I was like, when I first heard this in the episode, I thought like she'd gone into his room and maybe like he was asleep and she took his phone that way. But it was more like she probably just pickpocketed him, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Both are bad, but
yeah.
And basically she lured them here to show them something. And a guy comes out with a clipboard and is like, come on, it's showtime.
Guys, I'm sorry for everything.
Because when they enter, it's like Sam and Dean's everywhere. Oh, I forgot to mention the jacket's back in this episode.
It is. And everyone's wearing it.
Yes.
So where are all those jackets? That's what I want to know. Where are they?
And one guy walks up to Dean and says, looking good, Dean. And he's like, who the hell are you? He's like, I'm Dean, obviously. And then they see like someone cosplaying as a scarecrow.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, I'm in trouble now. And he's like, oh, have fun, you two. And they're just very, very, very confused. And there's a whole bunch of merchandise. I guess the thing that kind of also gave it away is that something else was going on, is because as they were exiting the car, Dean noticed a whole bunch of Impalas.
Which is really funny because I was on Instagram the other day and like, is it like Family Business Beer Company put a video up and they had like 6 Impalas and they were like panning across them, and it made me think of that.
That's awesome. And there's just like, a whole bunch of people dressed up as different monsters. There was a person dressed as Mary. I'm surprised they didn't do more with the clown and Sam.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Maybe there's just too much going on.
What's also quite good is like the cosplayer who's cosplaying as Ash. I have seen someone in that exact cosplay. Like
that's amazing.
Exact cosplay.
The bad wig and everything.
The bad wig and everything. Like, to be fair, looking totally awesome. Like, yes, you look exactly like Ash.
And there's just, a whole bunch of other, like we said, merchandise. The merch stalls were really, really good.
The one that definitely does exist in real life is the Got Salt t-shirt. I'm sure I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And it might have been inspiration from this episode, who knows?
For sure.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's awesome! A supernatural convention, the first ever.
So this was, this is 2009, right?
Yes.
I mean, I wonder if there must have been, for this episode to exist, there must have been some supernatural conventions.
Yeah, I think so. How much the actors were involved at that point, like whether it have been more
just like fan meets.
Yeah. And they might have got 1 or 2 sort of guest stars to come in, like people who have already been in the business for a long time and like have done convention type things, but are not like kind of like a Mark Sheppard, basically.
A Mark Sheppard who's just, you know, an old dog to the convention circuit.
Yes. Exactly.
He's been in literally everything. So yeah, he's been doing conventions for a long old time. Oh, okay. So actually, like, it must be Creation who maybe did the first one, because they're called Salute to Supernatural, right?
Yes.
Yes. So it says their first. So the first Supernatural conventions, according to Google, was the Winchester Convention or Con, held in October 2006 in Nashville, Tennessee. And the Salute to Supernatural one was first held in November in Chicago in 2007. So, yeah, they were happening.
Yeah. There was at least 2. I mean, and also, you know, with this being Kripke writing this episode, he's been, like, conventions are not a new thing.
No.
Right? They've been around for so long, so he could envision what a supernatural convention would look like. I'm sure he probably went to like Star Trek conventions or comic book conventions or what have you.
Oh, okay. So you remember the Asylum conventions in the UK?
Yeah.
So the first one was in 2007, and it says that the guest stars were Jensen Ackles, Alona Tal, Nikki Acox, and Brooke Nevin, who played Kat in Asylum. Jared was supposed to go, but he was filming something else. So, and then Jensen brought Jason Mans, who obviously is now like a staple at conventions too.
Yeah.
So they've literally been doing them for over a decade.
That is wild.
I know.
That is. They've almost been. They're like. It's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not that long.
Do you think? I think they might get to 20 years though.
Yeah.
There's no slowing down. Like they seem to still be going, and now they're expanding conventions to like the Winchesters and like some of the boys stuff as well that they're in, and like Walker, all that kind of stuff. Now probably Gotham Knights too now.
Yeah, that's true.
It's yeah, wild. So yeah. We see the main like convention stage, and there's like the sort of like MC comes up, and he's like, "Welcome to the first annual Supernatural convention," and then says what they're doing, and he's like, "At 3:45 we have the panel." This made me laugh so much.
Frightened Little Boy: The Secret Life of Dean. And at 4:30, there's the homoerotic subtext of Supernatural.
Conventions have never changed. They've never changed. They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam and Dean like stood at the back, like away from everyone as well, to kind of separate themselves from the convention goers, and they're like, "What?
What is this madness?"
I mean, I guess they kind of knew, because they did talk to that lady who's like the publisher of the books, and she mentioned the whole thing. They have spoken to Becky before, and you know, now and then they like go on the forums, right?
Oh yeah. especially after Sam discovered the slash fic, he's probably like, "What are they writing about now?"
Yeah, for sure. And then the MC mentions like, "Oh yeah, the hunt starts at 7 o'clock sharp." And everyone's like, "Yay!" And then he's like, "But I'd like to introduce now, like the man himself, Carver Edlund." And then like Chuck walks on, and Sam and Dean are like the most unimpressed you've ever seen in your whole life. They literally look like they're about to murder him.
If looks could kill,
yeah,
Chuck would drop dead. What's really funny is that I can't stop thinking that Chuck is God throughout this whole entire episode. So, like, he's getting his worship right now.
It's so true. This is a church. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's still so funny that he's called Carver Edlund. I just can't get over that. I just like... You must have just called him, like, Kripke Singer. Like, honestly.
Right.
And he's the only guest as well, because obviously he's the author of the books. Like, who else are you going to go and cut to talk about this? Like, it's not a TV show.
No, yeah.
What's also funny is, like, Rob Benedict is now also like a mainstay at conventions, so you know he's not this awkward.
Yeah, like he literally comes out and sings.
Yeah, it's like weird to see, like it's some kind of like cognitive like dissonance, like seeing him on stage and you're like, that's Rob Benedict. Oh wait, no, he's playing Chuck, who's not good at conventions. But they literally made like a whole TV series about conventions with like Richard Spike. So like the whole, it's weird to me. Yeah, I want to watch that again. Actually, The Kings of Con. I haven't seen it for a while. So yeah, he takes like a big drink of water and he says like questions and like everyone puts their hand up. And so he like picks some people and their questions are, so like, where did you come up with Sam and Dean in the first place? And he like looks at them and he's like, it just came to me. I wish Cass had been in this episode, but it also makes sense that he wasn't. And then like the hook man asks in a German accent, which is interesting because actually Supernatural does have a massive German fan base. Supernatural is very big in Europe, and particularly, I don't know what it is, but sci-fi in particular, like sci-fi and fantasy, I come across a lot of people from Germany and Holland when I go to conventions. I don't know if it's just aired there more than other European countries, maybe.
I couldn't tell you.
If you're German and a Supernatural fan, tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
Why in every fight scene, Sam and Dean are having their gun or knife knocked away by the bad guy? Why don't they keep it on some kind of bungee?
I'm sorry, German friends. Which we have said, and I feel like probably we go from here.
Probably.
And Chaz was like, well, I don't know. And then also asked about like, can't Sam and Dean tell that Ruby is evil? Like she's clearly manipulating Sam into some kind of moral lapse. Like it's obvious. And Becky's like giving him the evils as well now because she's obviously very protective of Sam. And she's like, if you don't like the books, don't read them. She's Becky's the kind of convention goer that you like don't want, like a gatekeeper. Yeah. She's the gatekeeper. Yeah,
she is, unfortunately.
And then finally someone asked, like, well, you know, at the end of the last book, Dean goes to hell because the books only go up to season 3. And then Chuck's like, well, you're all going to find out because they had a wealthy Scandinavian investor. They're going to start publishing again. And everyone starts like cheering and stuff. So just jumping the gun on this a little bit. Chuck at the end of this like agrees that he's not going to do this. But he definitely does because Becky, when we meet her later series, knows about cats.
Yeah, maybe the threat wasn't quite good enough, but honestly, that threat was pretty awesome. That's like probably my favorite line from Sam ever. So
it was like kind of out of character for Sam, which made it extra good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
in the hotel bar, like Chuck brings over 2 glasses to Becky and says it's a yellow-eyed cooler. In Forbidden Planet in the UK, they've just published a Supernatural cocktail book.
That's awesome.
If this isn't in there, questions.
Right? or any of the drinks that are in this.
Surely there must be some kind of tequila salt pun somewhere.
Oh, there has to be, yeah. The Ghost Hunter or something.
Yeah. It's to lick the salt like in a circle off the bar. Ugh.
Not off the bar. You lick it off the rim.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So Chuck's kind of like tentatively flirting with Becky. But then like she sees Sam across the room and is like, hi Sam. And Chuck just gives up.
Do you know what's really sad about this? Like, again, thinking that Chuck is God, I just think of Atomic Hearts and like how this ends. And I'm just like, Becky, you're so close to the end.
Oh no, poor Becky.
This is so dangerous for you right now to like make Chuck jealous.
Yeah. Run away, girl.
For sure. Also, isn't the relationship kind of unethical? Like, she is literally a super fan of this man.
Yeah.
And he wants to date her.
I agree with you. It totally is. Yeah. There are some quite morality questions there. And also, you know, he is literal God. So Whether he's aware of that or not is a whole other story, but it's still weird.
It's also weird that he never because he could literally make her love him, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's God. He could just write it and it would be so.
Yeah, he had no reason to punish Becky in Atomic Hearts. Oh, I'm looking forward to that episode. I've got questions.
In case you haven't noticed, our plates are kind of full, okay? Finding the cult, hunting the devil.
Like, why are we here? Becky is like giving Sam the eye. That's the only way I can say it. It's like really, it's too much. It's too much, man. Chuck's like, oh, I didn't call you here to the convention. And Sam's like, no, the books. Why are you publishing more books? And Chuck explains, like, he's doing with his gift what he will because, like, he was given this for no reason by an archangel. He says an archangel, which is interesting, actually, isn't it? Because it's not an archangel that makes profits. It is presumably
Probably is Metatron.
Yeah, Metatron makes sense. Yeah, I think it must. I mean, I think it's some kind of just like written into the fabric of the universe that these profits happen. But yeah, so it wasn't an archangel, but they are archangels watching over him. They changed this law around profits. It's very confusing.
Well, that's because Chuck isn't a prophet.
That's true. Chuck's not a prophet. So, they're like, no, sounds like no more books. Our lives are not for public consumption. And, Chuck's like, look, we need to go talk about this. So they all follow Chuck into the hallway, and Chuck's like, basically like, I've got no skills, man. I'm just a writer. Like, I'm not something.
And I can't write well.
Yeah, I can't write well. Like, I'm not even a good writer. It's like the supernatural books are all I got like, what else do you want me to do? And he's interrupted by a woman screaming. So obviously Sam and Dean run off. And Chuck's like, no, wait. I need to talk to you about my money situation.
I was thinking, like, the announcer literally said 7:00 is when the thing will start, the hunt will start. Like, did they not like look down at their watch at all and be like, oh, it's 7:00?
They're not smart people.
No, that's true. That's true.
So there's a maid like all scared. And she's like, I saw a ghost. And then obviously other Sam and Deans are arriving. So there were two LARPers / cosplayers in this who are notable. And I'm going to call them Fake Dean and Fake Sam because I can't remember their names. And they talk hilariously. I love it so much.
Yes.
Because it's also like, you can tell they're putting it on. But then when like Dean or Sam talk, they sound exactly the same.
It's very funny. What makes me laugh though about that is that this is how they read it in their heads. Because obviously they don't have a TV show to compare what their voices sound like. So Chuck has described how deep their voices are.
What's also kind of funny about this is that Jared and Jensen do it too.
Yep.
Because that's not how deep their voices really are.
Nope.
And it just gets worse as the season... I say worse, deeper as the seasons go on. Like they're trying to like out-horse each other.
Yeah, right.
Gosh, the amount of like strepsils they must have gone through.
I know. There must have been so many like, I don't know, hot teas on set.
Yeah, that's so true.
hot water and lemon for everybody all the time.
So, yeah, these two guys are there as well, and they're like, a ghost. Dean turns and says, why don't you leave this to the grown-ups, pal? And then the maid kind of switches, and she's like, oh yeah, I saw a ghost. And you can tell that she's acting now. It's like, gather close, everyone, for a terrifying tale of terror. It's really hard to say. So Sam and Dean walk away because they're like, oh, it's not real. But we hear her talking about Letitia Gore as the ghost. Like, Sam and Dean kind of walk around, and like Becky finds them, and they're like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, it's LARPing. And she hands Sam a piece of paper, and it's like, Dad's journal. Dear Sam and Dean, this hotel is haunted.
First team to do so wins a $50 gift card to Sizzler. Love, Dad.
This is awful.
Like, Becky, you have read these books front to back and back to front and upside down. You know that John would never write Love, Dad. Never.
Not in a million years. Oh, this must be so painful for them. I'd hate this so much. And Becky's like, oh, you guys are going to win. Read the room, Becky. So we see all the people cosplaying, and now they're in the like FBI suits with their badges out at the like convention MC, and he's like, oh yes, Agents Lennon and McCartney. So he explains that this hotel was once an orphanage run by Letitia Gore, and 100 years this very night she went insane and murdered 4 boys before killing herself, and now they say their like souls are trapped here. And like Dean's done, and so is Sam. Like, he says that's all the community theater I can take, and Sam's like, yeah, this cannot get any weirder. It must be so weird to like see your life as other people see it. I don't know. Like, how would someone play you in a play?
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
No, it's odd.
Mm-hmm.
So as Sam says, like, this can't get any weirder. Like the two, like the fake Dean and Sam will cross, and they are fully LARPing.
Dad said, he said I may have to kill you. Kill me.
So they're like playing out the
Probably
scene.
one of the most traumatic experiences that these two brothers has ever faced in their life, and there's these two guys that just casually saying this as you walk around.
Right? Yeah, it's I feel full sympathy for these guys because they don't know that the books are real. They literally don't know, right?
That's very true.
And I'm not sure, saying this now, what the moral of this story is supposed to be. Like, is it be more respectful of like fictional characters just in case they're real? Because that's not that's not a lesson.
Yeah, no. Honestly, like, if anything, this episode is a little bit of this is a redemption for the wrong fans. But it is a little bit of a redemption because Dean sort of accepts why they are so into the books.
Yes.
At the end of this episode, so he kind of understands that why, like, while he doesn't agree with them, like the message that they get from the books is something that he could like appreciate. Yeah. But at the same time, the lesson that they get is that like you guys get to do anything that you want, essentially. Yeah. Like our jobs suck, like our lives suck, but like Sam and Dean get to do all of this heroic stuff. It's like, actually, it's not that heroic. They keep dying.
And like this. I think this is my problem with it. Here we go. I think I've figured out what it is. That it doesn't reflect fandom very well because the people who are attending this convention are in their own little isolated bubbles. Like they've all come as like a unit of like Sam or Dean or by themselves as monsters. Like that's how they portray these people. And there doesn't seem to be much interaction between other convention goers other than the people they've like come with. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there isn't any sense of like community, which is the main point of fandom.
Right. Yeah. They basically picked out the worst parts of the fandom. Because even with this fake Sam and Dean, we're jumping way ahead, but that's fine. When the real Sam and Dean suggest to work together, they kind of like, they'll only do it so that they win the prize. Mm-hmm. Like, or is that a reflection on the characters they believe Sam and Dean are? Like, they don't accept help. No, that's not it. I'm going too deep. But yeah.
Yeah, I do think I think you're right. I think it's a portrayal of like the worst parts of fandom. Like there's the overly critical question that they have in the in the hall, you know, because I think creators sometimes do see fans like really nitpicky about what they do and like ask, you know, why are they asking very specific questions? Like, we don't remember what we wrote. Like, we just wrote it. I do get that attitude from people sometimes, like that you when you ask these questions, and you kind of think, well, you kind of, if you know you're coming to an event, you should kind of care enough to give like some kind of answer. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it shows people like not working together and being quite gatekeepy, like Becky is as well, which is obviously like I have no time for people who gatekeep fandom at all.
No.
And yeah, there's no sense of community and stuff. But then again, I think to like Misha and how he actually did bring a lot of the I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't community before he started going to conventions and stuff, because there definitely was. But think about like Gishwish and all that kind of stuff that actually sort of solidified the kind of good you can do in a fandom as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a very like outward expression of it. But in fandom itself, like there's obviously like a lot of internal support that people give to each other, and like a lot of the reason that people go to conventions is to see their friends each year, you know? Like you come from all over the country and you see the people that you know you're going to see there, and you get excited about seeing them. And actually it often doesn't matter who the guests are. It's about like who you're going to see from your circle. And
I feel like that may be, that's definitely there in America. But you can also see, and maybe again because like England doesn't really get the big three anymore, but like when you go to the ones here, nobody's there on Friday, nobody's there on Saturday, everybody is there on Sunday just to see, like they literally come just for the Jensen and Jared panel and then they leave. Like that hall will be completely filled, and it feels wrong. When I was there, I was so surprised it was so empty. Like like the gold seats. I know they had pictures and they had signings and stuff like that. But the majority of the time, you've spent all of this money to have these amazing seats, but you're not going to take up the time to use them. And I'm just like, you literally only come for Sunday. And like there was also a lot of people from Misha as well. But I'm just like, like I said, it feels wrong. Like you're here for the show. You're here for everybody who took part in the show. Yeah. And that is actually not the case at the UK conventions, because we don't tend to have like I won't say A-list, that's not the way I want to put it, but you know what I mean? Like we don't get the big three actors who come to the UK. We get people who so there's a sort of like group of actors that tend to do the convention circuit. Rick Worthy is one of them, and he is an amazing convention guest. He is so lovely to everybody he meets, and he's really good at like answering questions and just being really fun. And for all the panels, it doesn't matter who they are, it's always full. People are there, and sometimes the questions are a bit slow because it can be difficult if people have only been in like a few episodes to like think of questions. But there are also they do like tables at the front of the people who have like the upgraded tickets, because they also call them I can't remember what they call them here, but they are usually like seasoned convention goers. So if it is a bit quiet, you'll find that those are the people that will stand up and then ask a question, so to keep it going. Yeah. And it's very much like a family affair. Like people bring their kids, and like people know each other, and people are very helpful, I find generally. And the hotel is just like buzzing, and people tend to come on the Thursday, and some people will even stay till the Monday. Yeah. So I mean, there's literally a I've never been able to stay because I've always had to get a train home on the Sunday, but there's a like a tradition of the survivors photo where the last people there all take a photo together. It's really nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is that as well, because when I went last 2 years ago, there were definitely people that, you know, they could point out to other people like, hey, I've seen you before, like, and start like chatting and stuff. But you know, it's the people that do all the circuits. Like they go to every single one, so they know the people who run the show and stuff.
I mean, if anyone's listened to this and they've ever wondered about going to a convention and feel kind of intimidated about that, you have to remember that when you go, everybody there has something in common with you. So you can just go and talk to anybody. And if people don't talk, I've never actually had the issue where I've gone up to someone and started a conversation, they've been like, leave me alone. That's never happened.
That is very true, yeah.
Yeah. So like it is generally like a really welcoming place. So yeah, but circling back around to what I was saying, this is what this episode's missing. It doesn't. I don't feel the community in this. But you're right. Maybe it reflects the books. I think that might be why.
Maybe. And I don't feel like they ever show the community side of fandom in the show.
I disagree slightly because fan fiction, when they're putting on that play, I think it's different, but it's kind of a nod towards it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think this is what happened. I think they based this convention on something bigger like San Diego Comic-Con and the kind of questions and things you would get there and the kind of interactions that people have there, because that's the stereotype, right? And that's also the conventions, as we said last week, that are probably skew more men or like male presenting people. Those like big conventions like San Diego Comic-Con. It might not be true, but that's the way the media portrays it. Think about the Big Bang Theory.
You're right.
That makes me so mad every time.
Yeah, no.
I can't get into a rant about the Big Bang Theory and fandom. I can't start this here. But yeah, I think that's true because, as I think we were saying last week, supernatural conventions are majority like women.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that long tangent, I'm so sorry I started a whole thing.
No, I mean, it's good.
So from there, you know, with Sam and Dean go and get a drink. And we see one of the other convention guests who's dressed as Sam, and he's got like a fake EMF. It's real cute. And he's like,
EMF's going nuts.
I'm going to bring this up now, but like, I love the fact that the fake cosplay, or the cosplayers of them say lines that Sam and Dean then actually say in this episode. I absolutely love that touch. Like, I want to give credit to the person who did that, and I don't know if that would have been Kripke or Nancy.
Who knows? I love it. It's great. It's because I noticed that as well. It was really good.
Yeah.
So, like, a woman jumps out of this guy and is like, woo, I'm Letitia Gore. They buried me in the basement. Woo. And then, like, he shoots her with, like, a Nerf gun. And she's like, ow. and says, like, you're supposed to vanish. And she's like, how? Come on, man.
I'm not getting paid enough for this.
No. They also probably paid her with a gift card, you know? So it's...
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, we see that guy and he's talking to Dean, another fake Dean, on the phone, and he's like, okay, see you in 5, and he's like, they don't eat my Skittles. And then an actual ghost appears in front of him like a small boy, and he's like, help us, Miss Gore won't let us have any fun. And this guy's freaked out, and he realizes that it's a ghost as it disappears and like runs. He stops and he's like, that was awesome. But then he gets thrown around like massively, and then the woman ghost appears, Letitia Gore, and shouts, naughty, naughty, naughty. And he falls to the ground and she disappears. I'm really glad that guy didn't die. I felt really bad for him. Yeah.
I'm kind of upset that they did kill a fan of the show. Yeah. And especially the fan that they did kill. Like, the nitpicky one is the one that you went after.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that one.
What are you trying to say, Kripke? What are you trying to say?
Right. Don't ask stupid questions. Well, guess what? Don't write stupid shows.
The bungee thing is legit, though.
Yeah,
even Dean admits that.
So we're back at the bar, and Sam and Dean are still, doing shots, trying to, erase us from their minds, clearly. And the woman that we saw earlier dressed as Letitia Gore comes up to the bar, and Dean like hits on her, and she's like, yeah, I'm busy. Like,
Heard that line 17 times tonight, okay? And all from dudes wearing MacGyver jackets.
I love it. And then she looks up and like notices it's actually Dean, and like realizes he's not really the kind of nerd that is around.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a buff nerd, basically.
But you seem different.
How so?
Well, you don't seem scared of women.
Again, another very bad stereotype.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And then they hear a loud noise, and the guy who was just thrown around by the ghost was like saying, I'm not making this up. She's upstairs, a real live dead ghost. And Dean excuses himself, and so they go over to try and talk to. His name's Alex. Mm-hmm. Like his friend is saying, he's probably just one of the ghost actors. And he's like, yeah, who beat the hell out of me and then vanished. Mm-hmm. Sam, being Sam, was like, you saw something? And he's like, this isn't part of the game, jerk. Look, I'm getting out of here. You should do the same. And he walks away. They're like, oh, do you think this is fake? And he's like, nah, he's not a good enough actor for it to be fake. It's so funny that like calling out actors when you're an actor. I just love it. So we go back to the convention man, the announcer, and he's doing another sort of introduction, but to now some new agents who call themselves Jagger and Richards. Mm-hmm. And Sam and Dean go to the actual manager of the hotel, mm-hmm. and he's like, look, I don't have time to play Star Wars with you. Go ask the guy in the ascot.
Which is, because Luke and Han, that's a funny Crypt Keeper, that reference.
Yeah. And Dean bribes the guy with $50. And he's like, okay, what do you want to know? He's like, is the Letitia Gore stuff actually true? Mm-hmm. And he says, yes. They don't like to publicize it, but in 1909, it was an orphanage. And she had killed, in fact, 4 boys and then killed herself. And tonight is actually the anniversary. Mm. Sam's like, well, has there actually been any sightings? And he says, yeah, over the years, but a few maids have quit or heard boys and saw them. A janitor had saw Miss Gore once as well. Mm. And Dean asked where they were killed or carved up, and he's like, well, I don't want you going all over the place, and this place is especially off limits to nerds. He gives them another $50 and tells them it's the attic. And as this conversation is going, the fake Sam and Dean, mm-hmm. the notable fake Sam and Dean, overhear their conversation, and it's like listening in to like this new information. It's funny that they don't come to the other actor or the other fake people mm-hmm. don't think to do something like this, like bribing the manager because he won't talk. Like how much do you think in the second one is like you have to use like Monopoly money?
Right, yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. I'm a very play by the rules kind of person. Like I can't do an escape room. If someone's like jiggling something too hard in an escape room, I'm like, stop it.
So we go up to the attic and Sam and Dean crawl through a very small hole to get into it, and Sam says,
EMF's going nuts.
Like we just heard.
Mm-hmm.
Dean's like, oh, this is just great. We've got real ghosts, people, bunch of dudes pretending to be us poking at it. And he says, this is not going to end well. And as they continue looking around, we cut to, like, I guess it's like outside of the attic. I'm not really sure exactly where the 2 fake Sam and Deans are. But they're like in a hallway. Mm-hmm. And Dean, fake Dean, is, it's got to be around here someplace. But his friend,
yeah.
in his normal voice is like, yeah, I don't know, man. No one else is looking at the attic. And the other guy breaks character, is like, dude, stay in character. So this is why I don't think they're really together, because he calls him dude. Like, you call him babe, right?
Yeah, they wanted the big reveal at the end. I don't know. I'm trying to think of things I call my husband. Dan. Birdie. Yeah.
I don't know. In most situations, if you're with somebody like and you're gonna give him a pet name, I'd feel like it would be Babe rather than Dude.
Well, yeah, because I looking back at this, like I think they don't have a very good relationship because they don't talk. There's not a lot of respect there.
No,
I don't know. This is the way he talks to him. It's not very respectful. I feel.
All right, dude. 1, stay in character. All right, if it's just me, I look stupid. And 2, you heard the guy downstairs. I think this is part of the game.
and then a little boy like pops up, and again, fake Sam's like all into this, out of character. It's like, oh, that makeup looks amazing. And then he's like, sorry, and then like coughs and goes, sorry. And the boy says, help us, Miss Gorway, let us have any fun.
Where's the body buried, kid? We'll light her up nice and toasty.
It's so good.
And the boy points to a map or picture behind them. And then when they turn back around, the boy's gone. He's like, wow, fast runner. I do love the fact that he says, check this out.
Yeah, that's good.
And they find a handprint next to this picture. They pick up the picture and like see that the backing can be pulled off, and they find an old map inside.
The like backing of that thing is like covered in handprints, and it's legitimately like real creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then back in the actual attic, Sam Dean come across another little boy who has his hands on his head, and he's saying, "Mummy loves me." Like he then removes his hand and you see he's been scalped, which is really gross. And then he disappears.
Yeah.
We then cut to the bar, and Becky and Chuck are together. They're like having a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But then Becky kind of gets distracted, and Chuck's like, great. Massive eye roll. Because Sam and Dean show up.
Mm-hmm.
Sam has done some off-screen research and found that there has actually, Letitia Gore did butcher 4 boys, but one of them was her son.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the police, she scalped the kid. So it's all turning out to be true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I'm gonna deep fry this bitch extra crispy.
Dean's super angry about this, isn't he? Yeah, he's more angry now because he finds out that she murdered family. I mean, I guess like child as well was pretty bad. That's like the worst thing. But he's like real mad.
Yeah, and also like it wasn't like a clean death; it was scalping.
Ugh. Still horrible.
So yeah. But they don't know where she's buried, and they overhear the fake Sam and Dean looking at the map and like pointing out different locations on the map, and there's a cemetery, and they walk over and like just touch the map, and they're like, hey, do you mind?
I thought this was so funny that like Sam just touches that map and he's like, a map?
It looks real. A century old. Like what magic hands do you have, Sam, that you can tell that a map's real from just anyway, I don't know.
Sam's wild in this episode. Like he's actually like really good. Like, Sam is the best in this episode. Really good.
Sassy Sam is always good though.
Sassy Sam. It's all those drinks. They were definitely all like drinking this whole night. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is where like the cooperation and community kind of gets thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help that this is a competition as well. So like, why would you, I guess? But like, I don't know.
Give me the map, Chuckles.
Yeah, well, you're the Chuckles. Chuckles.
It's like a no you kind of thing. They then like threatens him with a fake gun. Like it clearly is a fake gun, and then Dean like casually pulls out his own.
I don't know why I found this so funny. It's like, Dean, what were you gonna do? Were you gonna shoot this guy? Like, why are you pulling out a gun? Like Sam is literally like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's like, Dean, what? Dean's like, what? They're freaking annoying. And it's like, look, you know, you want to find the bones, we want to find the bones, let's work together. And they're like, okay, fine, but we get the gift card. And Dean like eye rolls and says, fine. If it was a bigger sentence, then maybe he might put up more of a fight. But Sizzler's nah, we're good. And fake Dean's like, well, but we get to be Sam and Dean. And they're like, whatever. Do you think they're like, these guys look too much like Sam and Dean, so let's like make them not be Sam and Dean?
I don't know. I feel like, see, I've never done any role playing. I'm not good at it, so I don't do any. But like, this is really bad, and I'm so sorry if you role play. I'm sure it's not like this. But I do imagine people do get really protective over their like main characters.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. So fake Dean's like, hey, Rufus, Bobby, would you hurry up? And I was like, hey, how would they know who, like, that Rufus and Bobby are like friends?
Yeah.
But they have gotten to Bella, so they know who she is and the ear prints thing. But they just don't know how good. I'm never gonna forget that. I'm never gonna forget that because it's so stupid.
Oh, never forgive the ear print, I swear.
Never. It's atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Anyway. So fake Sam and Dean kind of go into the asylum like spiel. I don't know how they went from season 2 back to season 1, but okay.
Why are we even here, Dean? Are you just following Dad's footsteps like a good little soldier?
Dean can hear them. This is so...
Yeah.
Is this like therapy for Dean? You
No.
know, like hearing...
No, he doesn't. Cause maybe.
It's the closest he's ever gonna get. So.
Yeah, very true. That's very true. And Dean's like, you know what? Shut the hell up. Like, I'm done. Dean gets so mad that he's actually speechless.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not Bobby, okay? You're not Sam. You're not Dean. What's wrong with you? Why in the hell would you choose to be these guys? So fake Sam's like, because we're fans like you. And he's like, no, I'm not a fan, okay? Not fans. In fact, I think Dean and Sam's story sucks. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. It's a river of crap.
That would send most people howling to the nut house. So you listen to me. Their pain is not for your amusement. I mean, you think that they enjoy being treated like circus freaks?
But you are.
Yeah. What sort of...
having 2 meta episodes back to back, like one saying this is not a TV show, and then these are real people.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much. My brain's like, no.
I can't help thinking this is Jensen talking. You know how much he loves Dean. Like, he's like,
yeah,
it's not funny, man. Do you know what he goes through? And then they kill him at the end. And I can't deal with it. You're just laughing about it online.
You're totally right.
Because
this was unfiltered Dean.
Yeah.
Unfiltered Jensen, sorry.
Absolutely. What's funny is, like, the way that Dean is talking, this is actually another type of fan, and I don't think that they intentionally wrote it like this, but I definitely have met these people who, they don't struggle, like, they know it's not real, but they feel so protective of the characters that, like, if you are in any way critical towards them, they take it as a personal affront. And you're like, but they're not real though. But I know it doesn't vibe with your interpretation of the character, but also they're not real though. Like, you know, I'm hoping not offending anyone saying that, but it's also very true. Like, you can have, we see it all the time in like shipping wars, right?
Right.
You can have your interpretation of the character and what they're like and who they love and everything around them. But your opinion doesn't invalidate anyone else's. I think that's the case.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, this is totally what what Dean said. I don't know. I love the idea that, like, I always joke that Jensen isn't acting, and like I've seen this online and I've reposted I've blogged it before, that Jensen isn't acting, he's just a vessel for Dean. There's one time like Dean left the vessel and he said what he was.
Definitely. So in the meta of Supernatural, do you think the French mistake, when that comes around, is the filming of the show now? So like the show's gone from being a book to being an actual TV show. Like, is this a continuation of the development of Supernatural?
I never thought that before, but it would make sense that there is a because we know multiverse theory exists in Supernatural. It would make sense that there's a multiverse where the book has been adapted into a TV show. Like that's not is that a smaller leap than it's our universe, like a version of our universe where they kill the real Misha Collins? I agree with that. I think it's right because it's not our world, although it's supposed to be. I think it's another universe, where maybe it's adapted. Let's go with that. I like it.
Just to carry on with, because we don't really have these kind of meta episodes for a little bit longer, like not until there probably are some other ones, but French Mistake is another one that really stands out as a meta one.
Yeah.
In this sense,
of
the show, like, but yes. So fake Dean says, they don't care because they're fictional characters. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, they care. Believe me, they care a lot. And he like storms off, and Sam's like, yeah, he takes the story really seriously. They start to explore the cemetery, and they see the gravestones of the 4 boys, and then they find Letitia Gore, and then they start to dig her up. And they get all the way down to the coffin, and they open it up, and the fake Sam and Dean like gag basically because they're like, that's not plastic, that's real. And they're like, yeah, that's what we're here to do. And it's like, trust us, we're gonna win the game. As they reveal the bones, Miss Gore shows up and is telling him naughty, 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 and like throws Sam away and gets knocked out. And then the fake Sam and Dean try to run away, but they got stopped, and like their hearts get attacked basically. Even fake Dean's heart's not safe.
Oh my gosh.
And it's all very dramatic. Dean's trying to salt and burn the bones while all of this is happening, and she goes up in flames, and Dean's like, real enough for you? And they kind of look back at Dean horrified.
I think it was really interesting that they took these guys out to the cemetery knowing they were going to go dig up a body, and didn't like warn them at all or like talk about it beforehand. They just like got right down to it.
Well, why would they? Why would they have to explain that this is what they do? Like, they've read it in a book multiple times. Like, why would they not? Why would you think that that's not the case, that you'd have to do that now?
I think there's also like a little bit of smugness on Sam and Dean's part.
Yeah,
like, this is
absolutely.
What it's really like.
Definitely from Dean, for sure. Like, Sam probably doesn't really care. He's probably more concerned with Becky over anything else. So with this, it's just like another job for him. Whereas Dean's maybe more like, these idiots.
It's kind of cruel because they know that the ghost is going to appear, like they usually do when they go to sort and burn the bones. So they're basically exposing these guys to the fact, like, oh yeah, everything's real. Like, they didn't have to go together. Like, they could have just taken that map from them. Like, they are physically more capable of stealing that map and leaving.
That's true. But they probably also didn't want to cause a scene.
Yeah.
So it's probably easier for them just to be like, fine, we'll just join you.
Yeah, we'll show you that monsters are real. Let's go.
Yeah. I think it's also a little bit of like that. They're clearly tired of everybody in this seat, like in this convention. So like, let's show you what it's really like to be a hunter.
Yeah. It's just petty from them, I feel. You know, it's a bit like... Sure. Anyway. So we get a shot of like whiskey being poured into a shot glass and drunk, as Dean did in a previous scene, but it's fake Dean now.
That was really awful, right?
Exactly.
But Dean does buy them their round, so and then like, bye, we'll just leave you with that knowledge. See ya. And then like fake Sam asks like, well, how did you know to do that? And Sam says, well, we read the books. And they're like, okay, and they turn to say goodbye to Chuck.
Good luck with the supernatural books. And screw you very much.
And the MC's like, are they fans of yours? And Chuck's like, no. So Sam and Dean try to leave, but the doors are locked. And they won't open, like, they're trying the windows and things. Like, every exit is locked. And they realise that it's not over. The woman who was playing Letitia Gore, like, runs screaming out of a room. And Dean grabs her and, like, what's going on? And she's just shouting, like, don't go in there. And they usher her away and go in. And the little boy who's been scalped is in there. And asking, why did you send my mommy away? And then he's like, well, you know, my mummy didn't do this to me, and then disappears. We cut to Hookman, the German Hookman, and the three ghost boys appear in front of him, and he's so unimpressed. He says, like, yeah, how original, supernatural, bringing us more creepy children. And then actually says the word sigh.
He's such an edgelord. Oh my god. They shouldn't have made him German because Hookman had origins in Scandinavia, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
He should have been a Scandinavian man.
Yeah, he should have done like Norwegian accent. Quite good. I will say, as much as I was saying like, oh, they're showing the negative side of fandom, like this type of fan also does exist. And it's like sometimes it's like, why are you here if you hate it so much?
It's like you hate it so much that like you're dressed up as a villain.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. It's constantly constant criticism. I mean, that's what we do. So I'm not going to delve into that too deeply.
But we have an appreciation. We still love the show though.
That's true. I have an appreciation. Yeah.
Like we would never be this rude to anybody about like if you love Supernatural, we love Supernatural. We're gonna talk to you about it because we love Supernatural. We can all point out the things that we wish were different, and I think that's fair. But like this kind of attitude of like, ugh, God, it's so cliche. Yeah. Like I don't even like that they did this. It's like, but it's still fun.
It's still fun though. You can still have fun and think that it's terribly done.
And what's actually kind of funny about this is that we haven't actually seen creepier children for quite some time in Supernatural.
That's true.
So
yeah, we can play that. We can play that Hookman.
Yeah.
Anyway, he dies.
I was going to say good riddance, but that's kind of mean.
The boys are saying like, oh, Miss Gore's gun, we can have all kinds of fun. Then they have like a knife and he starts screaming. And then Sam and Dean come up and they find him who's been scalped. No. In the auditorium, Chuck's there and he's closing up. And he's like, bye, you know, have a good time. It was very, you know, he's still looking really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Then Sam runs on and he like whispers in his ear. Do you think they got Sam to do this just to highlight the height difference between Rob Benedict and Jared Padalecki? Because it's very good.
I do. And also it's like, I truly think that Dean could never be nice to Chuck.
That's true. Yeah.
I think there's a bit of that too. So it's more like Sam's the only one who could probably do it convincingly.
Yeah, he's the nice one. So yeah, Sam runs on and like whispers in Chuck's ears and Chuck's like, what? Holy crap. And then Sam's like, look, you have to keep everyone safe. It's life or death. Oh, this is my worst nightmare. Chuck's just like, how long? And Sam's just like, as long as it takes. Like, just feel the silence. Oh God, horrible. No.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, Chuck starts answering more questions and talking. Dean's ushering everyone else into the auditorium that works there, like the hotel manager, and like they don't want to be there because this is a convention that's happening in their hotel. Dean says, "You're going to want to see this. It's going to be a hell of a show." And like knowing all the stuff that Chuck says, like this hotel manager must be like, what the hell
have I just sat through?
Yeah. So once they're all in, Dean closes the door and like Sam and him start putting salt down. Chuck's like talking about the future book. So he's saying like, "Oh, how do you feel about angels? Because they're not nearly as lame as you think." So Sam and Dean have kind of figured it out. Well, Dean actually figures it, well, they kind of do it together. I'm going to give them both the credit here. That Letitia Gore was keeping the boys in check because basically they killed her son and then she killed them in retaliation. So they need to go back and dig up the kids and salt and burn them. But they can't because they don't have guns, apart from Dean's gun. They do have that because he pulled it on that guy earlier. But I guess it doesn't have salt rounds in, so useless. And they can't get out. They're trapped.
And they're only scared of one thing.
Exactly.
And grabs the actress dressed like Letitia Gore.
Yeah. I will say one thing. If you are trying to usher everybody in, why are you doing the salt line inside the room?
I don't know. It just literally looked like more kind of crazy, I guess. Like, what are you doing? Someone's taking this game far too seriously.
Right.
Yeah. I'm surprised no one left earlier than they do in this. So Dean grabs this actress and she's seen the ghost, so she's on board.
Right.
And he's like, "Look, you're an actress. We just want to act." And she's like, "No, I work at a Hooters. Like, you can forget it." Hey, do you know what? I think you still need to be a pretty good actress to work as a waitress. Full stop.
You are correct. I would 100% agree with that.
Or generally in customer service at all.
Yeah.
Fake Sam and Dean rock up as well, like, "We want to help."
No.
Why not?
Because this isn't make-believe.
Look, we know. We're not nuts.
And then fake Dean says, "If these people are seriously in trouble, we've got to do something." Which is very Sam and Dean of them.
Yeah. And he even says that is because that's what Sam and Dean would do.
Aww. I need that on a bracelet. What would Sam and Dean do?
No, there's really no such thing as a Croatoan virus for down there. You really should see a doctor.
I bet Rob Benedict had such a good, like, they have deleted scenes at the end of this.
Yes.
And, like, I bet he had so much fun, like, basically ad-libbing and, like, coming up with these lines or just saying these lines.
Yeah, there are some good ones. I wish they'd actually put more in. I would love to see of all of them. Because you know Rob Benedict's he's a great actor. So, like, you know, he had a lot. He's been in so much stuff recently. Like, literally every other TV program I turn on, I'm like, that's Rob Benedict. Why are you working so hard, man? Take it easy.
No idea. We appreciate you, though.
Yeah. So this actress walks into the room and she's really scared. And Dean's behind the corner, like, watching out for her. And she does the whole, like, boys thing. While she's doing this, Sam, fake Dean are all trying to open the door. So she calls them and is like, "You've been really naughty. You know, open the doors right now." And the boys all kind of look a bit worried, like they're not sure about her. And the door does open a little bit and, like, fake Sam and Dean manage to get out, but Sam doesn't. He's kind of holding it open for them. The woman, the actress, she's telling them off, and then her phone starts ringing, and it's like, I can't even describe the music. The only song I can think that it, like, relates to is, I don't know why it makes me think of booty, 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 booty.
Yeah. Yes. You are 100% correct. It's just, it's obnoxious just obnoxious.
It's not that, but it sounds like that.
Yeah. Why would you go into your pocket to grab the phone? Just leave it in there to ring.
She panicked.
She did.
Oh, so good. So they look at her and the jig is up. So Dean runs in and tells her to run away, and he has an iron bar with him. So he at least has something as the boys move towards him with their massive knives.
Just like normal children have.
Yeah.
So we cut back to the graveyard, and fake Sam and Dean are digging up each of the little boy graves. Fake Sam is like, God, Supernatural make it look so easy, but it's not. I'm gonna throw up. And the fake Dean's like, no, you're not. Like, he's really passionate. He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then back in the library, Dean is being thrown around by the ghosts. Sam, and it looks like he's about to like get hit by the ghost, and Sam swoops in and hits him. But then they're both like flung around again. Back in the auditorium, Chuck is still trying to fill time, and he's just like, I fell in love the first time at 16, lost my virginity actually. It's like, whoa, they're not your therapist, but all right.
I've seen people equating this to saying, like, if he's God, was this Mary because she went around telling everyone it didn't count? Like Jesus. That's not original from me. I've definitely read that somewhere.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Ha. I love that. No. But the hotel manager's kind of sick of it. He's like, I'm just, he leaves. Chuck stands up suddenly. He's like, you can't leave, sir. And says, don't open that door. Chuck goes into action mode when the manager opens the door and the salt line gets broken. And he takes like the mic stand, which
is definitely not iron.
It's definitely not iron, but he hits the ghost and it closes, and he like,
I said no one leaves, damn it! Now somebody salt this door.
Did it work because he's God? So he had to have a little hero moment. So the mic stand was miraculously a solid iron mic stand.
I think so.
Yeah.
So there's a big fight between Sam and Dean and the ghosts, and it's sort of cutting between it's very much the same as what was happening before with the graveyard. So it was like Sam and Dean, they're about to get scalped by these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Fake Sam and Dean are trying to light the bones, but the lighter doesn't work. And fake Dean's like, how can Dean always light this stupid thing first freaking try? And as Sam and Dean look like they're about to be dead, they go up in flames.
What was really bad is that they didn't salt and burn like each individual grave. They just like
they piled the bones together. I know. I was just like, you didn't have to do that, man.
You didn't have to. Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah, it was really bad. With everything calm, Dean says, bungees might be not a bad idea.
And yet they never do it.
And yet they never do.
Garth would be so disappointed in them.
He would be.
So it's daytime now, and we see like the coroner taking away Hookman's body, and Dean walks down the steps with like fake Sam and Dean, and he says to them like, look, you really saved our asses back there, so thanks. And they all kind of like look at each other, and Dean's like, oh, I don't even know your names. And they're like, oh, well, I'm Barnes and this is Damien. What's yours? And Dean like looks around like he's going to tell him like a big secret. And he's like, I'm Dean, the real Dean. And they just laugh at him. I don't know why he thought they would believe him. Did he think that he was so cool, like had such swagger that he could only be the real Dean Winchester?
Maybe.
And yeah, like fake Dean's like, oh, me too, right? And like sounds like, get the hell out of here, Dean. He kind of wanted to be recognized, I think.
I think so too. Like, if you wanted to be Dean, It's funny if you want it to be Dean, he is Dean. He could be like, happy coincidence. My name is also Dean.
Yeah, right. You know, isn't that funny? Yeah. And then as Dean goes to walk away, like, fake Dean says, you know, you're wrong about Supernatural, you know. Like, no offense, but I'm not sure you get what the stories are about. And they say, like, in real life, like, he sells stereo equipment and I fix copiers. Our lives suck, but to be Sam and Dean...
To wake up every morning and save the world, to have a brother who would die for you. Well, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, right.
I raise my hand.
Yeah, I could live without that. I just want a quiet life, you know. Yeah. Dean does say, like, maybe you got a point. You know, you two don't make a bad team yourselves. How do you know each other anyway? And fake Sam says, oh, well, we met online, Supernatural chat room. Dean, rude, says, well, it must be nice to get out of your parents' basement and make some friends. Rude. And yeah, fake Dean says, oh, we're more than friends. And they like hold hands. And like, it's really sweet. He like puts his head like, because fake Sam, I didn't say this the whole time, fake Sam is like quite a lot taller than fake Dean. I only just clocked that, like that they did that on purpose. Why did I never notice that before? Yeah, and he like drops his head down onto his. Dean doesn't know what to say, which I can understand this because they are cosplaying as you and your brother. And he has already come across in this particular fandom.
Yes.
In the TV series. I'm so confused by all this. Like, they have come across the chat rooms before. Let's just say that. So he just says, oh, howdy, partners. I don't hate. I don't like that.
He says howdy, partners, like cowboys, right?
Yes!
And we know he already has a thing for cowboys.
Look,
cowboys.
It's a thing. Dean and cowboys, it's a thing.
So maybe he thinks it's cute.
I think he thinks it's cute. It kind of annoys me a little bit because you know that this wasn't written with good intentions.
Right.
It's like, we're making fun of, like, we're playing this for laughs again.
This was scripty.
Ooh, you said it.
I said it. I said the thing you say in your head out loud.
Because I feel like it's not done in a good spirit of things. And I don't actually think it's weird to cosplay as siblings if you're in a relationship. I actually don't think that's weird. Because you're just cosplaying. Like, what's the problem? Like, it's fine. It's just fun and like, you think you look like the characters or whatever, or like you've done a cool costume. Like, there's no problem with this at all. I don't think. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought it's the intention's bad because I'm trying to make fun of the. Again, I think they're trying to make fun of like fans who like are shipping and stuff as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it as a good spirit thing and just, you know, these guys are out having a real good time at the convention. You know, it's a nice activity to do with your significant other.
Exactly.
So in a separate section of outside, I loved how they did this like multiple times, where like Becky's saying something incredibly like personal and uncomfortable to Sam about how much she loves him, and then it just pans and like Chuck's standing right beside her. I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to this. So Becky is breaking up with Sam. I do love this line, and I kind of want to use it.
But like a monkey on the sun, it was too hot to live.
Like, where did that even come from?
She's saying that her and Chuck have found each other. My yin to his proud yang. I hate that line.
That sounds wrong.
Even it like cuts to Sam's face when she said that, and he's like, what?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Sam. You know, sorry.
Becky asks, like, will you be all right? Sam, bless his little heart, plays along with this. I feel like in the long run, the episode season 7 Time for a Wedding would not have happened if he hadn't done this here.
Yep.
But I'm also not blaming Sam for that. It's not his fault.
Nope.
That's entirely on Becky.
Entirely, yeah.
And he puts on like his puppy dog face and he says,
I'll just have to find a way to keep living, I guess.
God bless you.
They didn't know. They didn't know, and yet they knew. And
Well, Crip, he wrote this, so he knew.
Did he know? Wait, Chuck's standing right there. And then Sam says, well, you know, Chuck, if you want to publish more books, I guess that's okay with us.
Wow. Really?
No, not really. We have guns and we'll find you.
Okay.
And then he's just like, bye. Love Sam. Love snarky Sam.
Yes.
Best Sam. And then as he goes, Becky... Right, this is the whole point of this episode. Becky runs after Sam and is like, one more thing. In chapter 33 of Supernatural Time is on my side, Bella, she stole the colt from you and said she gave it to Lilith. And she's like, well, she lied. She didn't really give it to Lilith. And Sam's like looking at Chuck like, what? And she doesn't know. He's saying that he didn't read the books. But Becky says, there was this one scene where Bella gives the colt to a demon named Crowley. Hey! Lilith's right-hand man, and I think her lover too. I don't remember that tidbit.
Neither did I until this episode.
So yeah, Crowley he's appearing soon. I'm very excited.
Me too. We've spoken a lot about Mark Shepard in this episode, and like, it was fate.
So Sam says to Chuck, like, you didn't tell us this before, and he's like, I didn't remember. I'm not as much of a fan as she is. And Sam's like, Becky, tell me everything, and she's obviously really happy that she can help. Back in the car park, Dean's leaning against the Impala. Right, there was a big old missed opportunity here, I feel, for Dean to accidentally try and unlock the wrong Impala.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed that didn't happen.
That would have been so funny.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
like, why we're in the car start?
Yeah, like, I can't open it, man. What's going on? Like, yeah. I'm sad about that. So yeah, Sam comes up and Dean's like, Sam's like, oh, you're okay, because Dean's been in a pretty bad mood like this whole weekend or whatever it was. And Dean's like, I'm good. I've realised some stuff about myself. Sam's like, well, you're not going to believe it, but I actually got a lead on the cult. And he says, it's a long story, but I'll tell you on the way. And then they leave the car park. And that's the end of the episode, except they do put in some of Rob Benedict's one-liners, which I think are great. My favourite one is...
I don't think the Benders made flesh suits out of all their victims. Maybe just like a couple scarves. The way I look at it, it's really not jumping the shark if you never come back down.
That's a very good one.
That describes Supernatural to the T.
Mm-hmm.
And there are more on a deleted scene too than there are worth watching, some of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Rob Benedict did a good job. A great job with this.
Yeah. Did he ever do stand-up?
I don't know.
Or do you think those lines were written for him?
Maybe. I think they probably were written for him and they were trying out different stuff, because I don't think that Rob Benedict himself would have a good enough understanding of Supernatural to make those jokes.
Yes.
Because he's just a guest actor, right? Like
Yeah.
It's
at this point, if he would, like now, 2023, he would, but back then, no.
Yeah.
So I will say that, so kind of we'll get to our last thoughts on this episode, but I just looked ahead at what the next episode is and who is going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Sheppard is in the next episode.
Yes! 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 Yeah. Or as Mark Sheppard would say, no.
Right. So, going back, last thoughts on this episode.
I think I said a lot about fandom in this one, and I don't necessarily agree with how they portray it, but in some ways it's accurate and in other ways it's not. I think that's my final takeaway from it.
Yeah. They took sort of the big stereotypes, like the negative stereotypes, and left out all the actual positive ones of like the community and just like literally making friends when you're there.
Yeah.
And like they can be lifelong friends too, not just like you see them one time and that's it.
And you know what? I am going to have a rant about Big Bang Theory. I just want to go there for a second because I feel like part of this negative, and to be fair, the Big Bang Theory came after this, I think. Whatever.
It's about this time. They started probably around this time.
Yeah. But I think it has a lot to answer for on the negative portrayal of nerd culture generally, and also how people presume that it's male dominated. And like, that's not just a Big Bang Theory problem. They do it in The Simpsons. I'm thinking of there are many others of examples of where it's like your stereotypical, and like it's rude to men as well, because they're always portrayed the same as like having like poor hygiene or like not understanding like social situations and things as well, and being like rude to people. I think of like comic book guy from The Simpsons. I haven't watched Simpsons in years. I feel like maybe he got like some kind of redemption arc or something probably at some point.
Maybe, yeah.
But like, I don't get it because it's never vibed with how I interact with media and also the people I've met at things. People are always lovely. Sometimes when you do go to bigger conventions, hygiene is a problem, but that's just a lot of people in a big space. In a small space.
Exactly. That's not necessarily. And also, you know, if you think about Comic-Con in San Diego, well, that's held in like the summer months where it's like 90 degrees outside, which is like almost 30 degrees Celsius. You're in cosplay, which is heavy and just
and
bulky,
polyester,
which absorbs the smell and everything. So it's just like in any gathering, you're always going to find different types of people, and there will be people who maybe by no fault of their own have a hygiene issue. Yeah.
I will say this, supernatural conventions, y'all smell good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all look good too.
Yeah. Hey, you do. Hey, winking into the podcast. Hey. I'm a married woman. How dare you?
Dare who? The people for looking good?
Yeah. How dare you look so good? No, like the thing is, I genuinely love fandom, and I feel like I don't appreciate negative portrayals of it in the media. That's my main thing. I will say, on reflection, this one isn't so bad. I'm going to go with it. Because ultimately, the heroes at the end of the day, at the end of this episode, were the fans. They got out.
That's true.
They saved Sam and Dean. And, you know, they also made Dean feel better about himself by saying, like, look, you guys are selfless heroes and it's all about family and how much you care for each other. It's not actually about the monsters in the darkness, your lives, which I thought was very nice.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I don't have anything else to add to that because that was so succinct.
Thanks, Han.
So I guess I'll tell everybody what we're doing next week.
Yay!
So it's Abandon All Hope.
Oh.
Ye who enter here.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see Mark Sheppard. He's going to look like such a baby.
He will. I know. Meg's back as well.
Yes. Rachel Miner, my love, my one true love. We're going to see the plot. It's gonna be a big one.
Finally. Let's see. This is November. Oh, of course, because this is mid-season finale.
Of course.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
That is why.
So at the end of the episode, I'd like to thank the Pixar Agora for his wonderful artwork as our beautiful logo. And if you would like to have said logo on your person, you can buy a t-shirt or something at Redbubble. The link is in our description. And come talk to us about fandom culture and if you agree with us about it or what. We've asked many questions in this episode. So, I don't know. Answer them with us. I'd like to talk to you guys. You can find us at the Escaping Purgatory podcast or just Escaping Podcast on Twitter. And we're everywhere. So, yeah, come find us.
So this week, we met a bunch of us just out in the world. And we went to go fight some monsters. And we won. Yay! But we're still stuck. So hopefully next week, we'll have more people to get out.
Bye.
Bye.